Hello everybody, and my name is Tony. So it's a long time since I started this channel again. So today we're gonna continue with daily math, but not daily math grade 2 that we used to do. Now I've prepared some other things to do daily math grade 3. This is from day 1 to day 5, grade 3, lesson, week 3. Why do cacti have spines? Cacti is just the plural of cactus. So here I've marked them as 4 parts, and 1 part is the review. So part 1 is talking about evaporation, part 2 about spines, part 3 more about spines, and part 4 about folds. So first let's start with part 1, evaporation. It is very hard for living things to live in the desert. Do you know why? It is because of the dry and hot conditions in a desert. But there are other reasons as well. There's less rain, and when it does rain, the heat and the harsh conditions in the desert makes the water quickly evaporate when it lands. A desert plant such as a cactus I grown easily here, like a normal cactus, needs to adapt to the weather conditions of the desert. So that's all about evaporation. Now, for this part, I'm gonna give out some questions. Now, here, I've drawn the cactus right here, so maybe I'll write the questions right here. We'll start with true or false questions. 1, true or false? True or false? True or false question number 1. When water lands to the desert's surface, so now it will evaporate very quickly. True or false? True. As we said in the speaking, it says that when it does rain, when the water hits the ground, it quickly evaporates. So we'll choose true. B. Letter B. B, or maybe question 2 in true or false questions. So what is it anyway? Well, it is a kind of an easy question. When the cactus does have rain, how does it protect itself? Well, you just look at it. Here you could see there are lines here. They're actually the spines of the cactus here. So the spines usually absorb rainwater. Luckily, if it touches these, the spines are marked with dark blue. One with light, one with dark. So it just goes on with this pattern. So if luckily it touches one of it, then of course the plant will survive. But still, there's a small shield-like thing around the cactus. It's shaped just like the cactus. There. So when someone does get in, it will slowly bounce down the ground, which of course every plant has roots. The roots absorb to the plant. So rainwater some rainwater gets to the shield, and then it goes a zigzag to the roots. The roots will transfer to the middle, creating water. That's why you see some cacti are really fat. They're fat because they store a lot of water. Actually, they're really thin, like Cactus Man. So, now that is about evaporation. Now, what is the next one? Let me erase evaporation so you can remember. So, we've talked all about evaporation. Bye-bye, Mr. Evaporation, and let's get to Mrs. Spines. Here, the spines, they absorb water. So, now let's talk about spines. Now, what are actually spines? Well, you're gonna find out in this reading or speaking part. Well, let's all get started with a new fresh start. Well, spines are a very dangerous adaptation for a cactus. Spines are actually a form of leaves. Modern day leaves, such as pine leaves and other ones, are ill due to the harsh conditions in the desert. So that's why spines came to life. Spines are like this. Here's a modern day leaf. A long time ago, cacti had leaves. But when the climate change became hotter, this is what happened. The part that I colored slowly disappeared. But the line in the middle doesn't disappear. The line in the middle are the spines that we see today. Just spines on this is the spine on, of course, a giant lotus leaf. This is a giant lotus leaf, knife-like spine. And this is the cactus. Spine here, there. So you can see the lotus leaf spines are much sharper and bigger and fatter. Maybe they store a lot of metal. So that's how it turns out to be a spine on the cactus. Now let's just continue with our speaking. The spines have many adaptations on the cactus. For example, the cactus will be protected by sunlight because of the spines. For example, if sunlight shoots at the spines will probably rebound the sunlight. Or there's another way, because the water in the folds, we're talking about folds later in part 4, but let's just get back to part 2. When it reaches the folds, the spines make sure that most of the water doesn't evaporate. So we'll have enough water to drink in the summer. So that is the end of the reading in part 2. Now let's get to the, of course, questions. So then you can raise these spines so I have enough place to write questions. Now we are going to get to write down questions. This is question 2. Write it down. This is A. You write down here. B. You write down here. C. You write down here. A spine is an adaptation of A. Leaf. B. A porcupine. And C. A robot. So what do you choose? Well, you should choose A. A leaf. B. The cactus's spines protects it from A. Sunlight, B. Water. A. Sunlight, B. Sand, C. Metal. So what is it protected from? Well, it protects it from sunlight. And finally, C. When it rains, when it rains, the water quickly gets absorbed into the A. roots, B. flowers, C. plant. So what is it? Well, it is, of course, roots. There. So that's all of question 2. Now, let's move on with part 3. So, bye-bye, Mr. Spines, and let's get to hello, Mr. Cactus Spines again. This time, we're going to talk about more. We're talking about how it can help the plant. For example, protect it from danger and help it reproduce. Make sure there's a hard word. What is that hard word anyway, everybody? Well, here I'm going to write that hard word. That hard word is C-H-O-L-L-A. You don't say it as chola. They say choya, 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 like this. Choy. Yeah. Like this. Choya. 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 So do you understand choya now? Well, let me erase question 2 and question 1 so I have enough place to write question 3 and question 4. There. Question 3. Of course, question 3, more about spines. We're gonna have some space here, so we'll write question 3. So now let's just talk about more about spines. Well, even though spines protect it from sunlight, the cactus's spines also have a few more adaptations. In this more about spines part, we're gonna talk about 2 more spine adaptations. Well, new spine adaptation number 1. It protects the plant from animals looking for a juicy meal. The spines are easy to break off, so if an animal tries to bite into the cactus, the spines will stick to its mouth and will have a very bad toothache. And I think that those will have another one. Mouth ache. Like toothache. Cheesecake. So, what about reproducing? That's new protection adaptation number 2. Well, it all starts with a jumping choya. A jumping choya doesn't really jump. It's a gigantic, of course, as you know it. It's a gigantic cactus. Like this. It stands 2 feet. It stands 5 feet wide and weighing about 1 ton, and its height is around like this. From me, do this, and my arms stretched up. That's how a jumping choya is. Like if you press the part that doesn't have spines, are like this. Press, 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 press. Chee! It doesn't really jump. It's just like it does like this. jump like a frog. But really, it just makes the tiny little frog does. There. That's what a jumping choya does. So when an animal brushes against the jumping choya's spines are even weaker than the normal spines. So that's why when the spines stick to a camel's back, it actually, you know it, falls off in a matter of seconds. So it just falls off when the camel's running from pain. It will be a lot farther than you thought. Then it will drop off. Then, of course, it will create new cactus plants. So that's how the jumping choya hurts things and reproduces. So now let's see question 3. Question 3 is basically a write down draw. Well, draw a picture of what you think a jumping choya would be. And of course, you can do it, write its name. So let's draw a jumping choya. I think it will probably be like this because it's so big. There. So the jumping choya will probably have spines. Legendary. And right. Jumping choya. So that's question 3. Now let's move on with question 4. Let me erase question 3 because question 4 is super big. And then you erase erase part of 3 as well as erase the choya. Erase this as well. Now we have one last part to go before we talk more about why cacti have spines. Part 4, folds. Even though spines are an adaptation, there's still much more adaptations to be discovered. For example, adaptations for folds, adaptations, and for other things. So here are adaptations for folds. Folds and roots, of course. So let's start with folds. A cactus has parts called folds. It's like the thick waxy skin, but we'll talk about the thick waxy skin later on. Folds, of course, store water like this. My sleeve is a fold, this is water, and it stores water until winter. Soon when it's winter, I get my hand and pull it out, open the bottle, and drink. I think it's too much water and too much chickens. So now let's move on with the next adaptation. Roots, 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 roots. Boom, boom. Hey-ya, whoa. Roots make the cactus super strong. Roots can absorb even the tiniest water. But I just told you, but the root can go up to meters away. This is the ground. And when rain comes up, it goes straight through the root, straight to the ground to the roots. There. And the roots generate water to the big roots, which generate water up to the cactus. The cactus grows bigger. So big. So when the cactus has more water, it will grow bigger. That's the hint. So the last adaptation that we've been all talking about, of course, as you know. Spines, as you know. We already talked about spines in the first 1, 2, 3 parts. The last one we're talking about folds and roots. So, those are all of the adaptations. Now, I am going to tell you a little bit more facts. 5 more facts. Top 5 facts. Most important facts about the American Sahara Desert jumping cholla, of course. Cactus. So now I'll tell my story within. I'll tell the facts within the story. Imagine you're a mini-sized rabbit, desert rabbit, and you're hopping when you not really stumble upon a huge cactus. Cacti have been around here for 100 years and it has been food for a ton of animals. So that's why rabbits' ancestors developed to eat cacti, as well as modern day cows. Jump up! Eat, jump, eat, jump. Ah. And of course, they stick deadly with spines. So, at night, there is a big, tight shield that protects it from the cold. And in the morning, there's a huge, tight shield that blocks out the sunlight. The shield is bigger than 10 mobile giant iPads. It's like bigger than the sun. Not really, it's as large as a mini cloud. Soon, the cactus's spines will sprout. When an animal such as a gigantic rabbit gets nearer, when it grows big, eats the cactus, when it hops away, it's deadly laden with spines. So the spines fall off and it reproduces. So that is probably those 5 facts. I hope you know one more fact. What is it? Bonus fact, tech fact. A bonus fact. There is a type of cactus that lives in the wild, the rainforest. It lives under trees, so that's why it doesn't have much rain to it. It's like vine. It uses the adaptations from its ancestors that lived in the desert a few thousand years ago. So that's how it all got started and ended right now. So you see, this was a really interesting lesson. What about? About cactuses, of course. And of course, the United Kingdom or England, they say cactuses. But in the United States, they modernly say cacti. So that is the end of our lesson for today. And have a great time and summer. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell so you can see 1,000 more videos and have 20 days of amazing luck during the next series. Bye!